Blog Talk Radio.
Keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. That's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome everyone. Well, let me push this button. One of these days I'm gonna have a real studio. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist, Inner Peace Practitioner. Let's throw in Oracle, but most importantly, just like you, a student, always growing, always learning, always shifting perspectives. In fact, I had a really interesting shift of perspective this week. So it's this life, the truth about this life, this is my perspective, the truth about this life is I'm here for not even a blink of an eye. And what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing here? What is the journey all about? Well, thank you for asking. I've come to the conclusion after 68 years that I am having a conscious experience in a human form. The pressure, the programming of anything else, I'm done. I'm over this humanness. I'm over this achieving. I'm over this waiting. I'm over this success. What is success anyway? Well, I've just defined it that success is the ability to live in the present moment. Thank you for asking. If you can sense that I have a little edge this morning, it's because I do. But I'm not going to put a story to it, but I am excited to share the latest of practices. When I say happiness specialist, let me just back up a little bit. Let me just back up and introduce myself properly, formally. When I say happiness specialist, when I was younger, remember blowing the candles out on your birthday cake, I wished for the same two things. I wanted to live to my potential, and I wanted to be happy. This happiness has nothing to do with achievement, has nothing to do with accomplishments, has nothing to do with awards, has nothing to do with a bank account, has nothing to do with how many people on this planet know me. It's nothing to do with that. It has something to do with being on the path, discovering the truth, which is, for me, to be very clear, for me, happiness is a practice skill. This ability to vibrate an energy of contentment is a practice. And it is a practice because it is my number one intention. What else is there? What I share is, well, before I go on, let me just say that if you want to speak with me live, you can call in on the number area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And if you're listening live on Noon Vibe, you just ask to join the stage. And then also, guess what? I'm live on my YouTube channel. What? I know I wear the same gray T-shirts. I have about 10 Oregon T-shirts, and I wear them all the time. Not at the same time. Anyway, I'm live on my YouTube channel, Rebecca Norrington, in case you want to check out my mug. But back to this happiness thing. When I talk about happiness, it is an ongoing commitment to vibrating at a certain level, vibrating at an energy of peace. having a neutral focus on whatever happens. Look, this isn't good, this isn't bad, this is just neutral without a judgment. And this neutrality, this vibrating in a neutral sense has really, in the last few months, taken me to another level of calmness and relaxation. You know, when your shoulders are tight all the way up to your ears. Well, this discovering the truth, and I'm going to talk about it today, this who are we, who are you really, and who do you identify with? And I'm 68 years old, and I used to identify with this Rebecca Norrington. Who is she? Discovering, wanting, looking, finding. Who is she anyway? And the discovery has taken me to this place, which is just even more simple than I could even imagine, which is at any given moment, I am either identifying with my humanness, and I said it a million times, I'm going to say it one more million, my humanness or my higher self, my person or my presence, myself or the awareness. And the awareness and the presence, there are no words for it. There's no definition. There's no description. How do you describe consciousness anyway? And I'm here to tell you that living or practicing, how about this? Practicing staying there, practicing letting my ego know who's in charge, practicing letting my ego know that no, your power is limiting, your power is being limited. In fact, if I didn't identify with my ego, it would have no power at all. And that's where we get to this separation anxiety. Again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And or if you want to join the stage on Noon 5, please, I would love anyone to come up to have questions, comments, share their perspectives. And before I get to the topic, let me just do a little bit more, what do they call it, housekeeping. So my son and I have a show every Saturday morning. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more. It's on my YouTube channel, and we do it every Saturday at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. And also this show is being aired live YouTube. Hello. A little bit more about this importance, one of the reasons why I put this contentment, happiness, and again, it's forget the words, my people. Forget the words, my dear audience, not my people. Forget the words, my dear audience. It's a vibration that I am centered on, focused on, talking about. The vibration of contentment. You can feel the difference. You can feel the difference of whether you're resisting or you are allowing, whether you are accepting or whether you are surrendering. And I just have to say that I can read the future now. It's a future of more surrendering, less resistance, more letting go. I give the example of, so say what's your favorite? What would be your dream car? If you had as much money as possible, you had millions of dollars, and you could get your dream car, what would it be? What would it be? And what color would it be? And it doesn't matter. What color would it be? And then the next question, when you have that all in your head and you have it visualized, you're sitting in the passenger seat of your dream car. In your dream car, you're sitting in the passenger seat. Question, who's driving? Who's driving? You're in the passenger seat. Who's driving? And no, it's not your significant other. And no, it's not your mother. No, it's not your twin sister. No. The universe is driving. God is driving, whatever term you want to use. And that's why I've given up goals. What if my goal, and when I say my goal, who is this my that I'm talking about that has a desire or a want in the first place? And for what reason? Someone asked me, we're talking about working hard. This working hard, inspired work, sometimes it is difficult, sometimes it is hard, but I'm not just working hard just because. And if I'm not inspired, in that inspiration, I can feel it. It's like a hot flame. It's like a needle in the seat. And I'm telling you that I wait for inspiration. And if there isn't any inspiration, guess what? I'm inspired to do something else. The book that, in fact, let me just share this. The book that I just published maybe 3 months ago, May, June, July, almost 3 months ago, 2 months ago. It's called, I'm holding it up, it's called Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. And it's on Amazon, Lulu, Barnes & Noble. And in this book, it took probably 7 years, but it had nothing to do with the 7 years. The book wasn't ready to be published until it was time. So this story about the reasons why it took 7 years are no longer going to be repeated or even believed. What happens, life unfolds when it's time to unfold. If God or the universe isn't signing off on any of this, on any of my goals or intentions, guess what? It's not going to happen. I can't speed it up. I can't make it happen. I can't slow it down. I'm talking about my destiny. I can't. And so what is the practice? The practice is to relax. And the practice is to enjoy whatever I find placed in front of me. Is it difficult? Of course. In fact, the challenge of growth, I don't know how uncomfortable it is for a caterpillar to turn into a butterfly, but I know for me this looking in the mirror and saying, okay, make a different decision, make a different conscious decision, be conscious of the decisions that you're making, even those decisions. Do you think I'm making them? I know it's a totally different way. It's a totally different way to live. But let me just get back to the one of the reasons why I place this energy, this personal energy of contentment, so high. There's a very famous study. It's called The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. And it was done by a hospice nurse. I talk about this on every show, at the beginning of every show. And again, if you want to speak with me live, the number to call in is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. Back to the study. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. These are answers and responses from people that have months, days, weeks to live. Number 1, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Anyone out there can relate? Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. I was having a conversation with someone online, well, not a conversation, but, little comments, and they were talking about working hard, and I said, working hard is overrated. Inspired, yes, but just for the sake of working hard because I'm programmed to work hard. Okay, to what end? To what outcome? That's my question. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I stayed in touch with my friends. And number 5, I wish I would have been happier. That's it. The topic of today's show is separation anxiety. And the reason why I titled that separation anxiety, I'm speaking from my experience, is this separation from this person, this identity that my ego is clinging to, is more than a notion. It is, let me give you an example, okay? Let me give you an example, a specific example. Again, if you want to speak with me live, call in area code 646-564-9619. I have a couple people in the queue. Just press the number 1. And again, if you are on Noon Vibe, I would love for anyone that wants to join the stage. Okay, so let me just say, I sent a picture. I sent a photograph to someone, and it was a couple of weeks ago when I was in Oregon. And the setting was I was in the forest, and the backdrop was the Umpqua River. And then my friend's house was up on the hill, and I took a video, surrounding areas, and I sent it to one of my friends here in town. And she replied back, "Wow, how beautiful, beautiful, beautiful river, beautiful home," on and on and on. And my ego, here we go. And it is about knowing the difference, separating yourself from that entity that says me, I, and really get a handle on, get a grip on what I are you talking about? The I that's programmed, the me that judges, or the witness? Anyway, so I sent the photo, I sent the movie to someone in town, and she replied, "Oh, what a gorgeous setting! How beautiful! How it was trees, river, green. It doesn't get any more beautiful." And then my ego, and it's very subtle. Let me just share that when my ego, and you can use whatever term you want, person, lower conscious, mind, when the mind says, send her a photograph of where you used to live. If she thinks this is beautiful, wait until she sees a picture of where you used to live. I'm giving that example, and I don't even know if it's really a good example, but it's an indication of how everything is processed now for me. Before I utter a word, I'm asking, where is this coming from? Where is this thought? Where is this conclusion? Here we go. Where is this perspective coming from? And that's a really important question to ask. And in fact, it lines up with the work that Byron Katie does. Byron Katie, Kitie, and she does. It's called The Work, and with that she asks 4 questions, which encourages the individual to question not only the thoughts but the stories and the truth, the validity of the thoughts. Are these true? Getting back to saying, I really want to send her a picture. Wait until she sees this. That is all coming from my ego. And knowing the difference, and not only knowing the difference, but putting not a restraint, but putting on notice, putting my ego on notice that you are not in charge anymore. When I talked about who's driving, it is God, it is the universe that's driving, and putting my ego on notice that no, you are your job. Your job is slowly coming to an end. Your what you used to do, how you used to take over, because I do call it a takeover. You remember the movie Alien? I do call it a takeover of thoughts. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wake up, thoughts are racing. Throughout the day, I can go from one thought to another thought, from one story to another story. But now the practice is to just look at those thoughts, look at those stories, witness those thoughts, witness those stories without identifying. And there is an anxiety that my person has pulling away from who I used to be. I don't even know if I explained that, but it is a pulling away from who and what I used to be and hold on to, yes, this is me. This is who I am. I'm going to give another example. I used to talk about being compatible with different energy, and there's compatible energy and incompatible energy. But I'm going to take it to another place of relationships, being compatible with some people. And you can feel it when you're compatible, when the energy just flows and it's easy and the conversation is easy, everything is just flowy. And I used to say that, I'm compatible with people that are generous, people that are kind, people that are accepting of me, people that are non-judgmental, people that, it goes on and on and on. And I would identify with this person that is compatible with this type of energy. Now, August the 4th, 2024, there's another perspective. One of the things that is taught is that there is no separation, that we all are the same, which is a very difficult concept to grasp and understand. But there is another level of understanding, and that is that I am not only compatible with the energy that my ego, my mind says, oh, generous, kind, accepting, non-judgmental. But there is a compatibility with all energies, even the energy that some would deem opposite. How's that for practicing explaining something without a story? Opposite. And so say that it's the individual that is opposite of generous, a thrifty, a cheap person, or a person that isn't kind, a person that has temper tantrums, or a person that gets angry, a person that is judgmental. So now I'm saying that I'm not compatible with that type of person. I'm saying I'm not compatible, and here's where the practice is moving towards. I'm compatible with everything and anything that is in the universe, all of it. Now, practically, if I'm in the presence of someone with a temper or someone that gets angry or someone that's mean and that, then there is a time limit. There is a time limit, but there is absolutely no one Well, scratch that. I'm not going to say absolute. The expanding to include all types of energy, all types of people, letting go of my preference, letting go of this thought, well, you know what I'm talking about, pointing the finger and labeling somebody and I'm not compatible. I'm here to say that I'm the compatible and the incompatible. The practice of separating and noticing and making a conscious decision not to identify with a lower form of myself, not to identify with the lower self, takes a lot of awareness, takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of going in and out. I call it being in a coma. You know, my ego can take over and come up with thoughts and stories, and if I'm not really okay, I could get into it and believe that, oh, this is just, I'm thinking, I'm coming up with a solution, but it's all taking me away from the present moment. I know this show may sound, it may be out there, but this is what I wanted to share now. This is life now, which is bouncing in and out, observing all, let's just call them clouds, all of the passing thoughts, all of the passing stories, and really stepping out and getting to a place of just observing. Now, in that place of just observing and witnessing, there are times, and there are many times, human times, where my emotions are going to feel all of it, from tears to jubilation to pondering to reflection, all of it. But there's not a story as to why I'm feeling jubilation. There's not a story. In fact, I went by my parents' house. My parents have been, my dad died in 2008 and my mother died in 2018. So it's been a while, but they still, I live in an area where I can go by their house if I wanted to, you know, within maybe 10 minutes. And occasionally I drive by. And yesterday I drove by, I was feeling like I want to feel some energy from Ralph and Marcel, Norrington. And I drove by the house, and I always, you know, I pull in the driveway, and then I do my turn, my 3-point turn. And I pulled in, and I started just feeling their energy. And that's a story, too, though, but I started feeling energy, and I started having some tears. And I just, hi, Mom, hi, Dad. And I could feel them strong. And tears were coming. But I will be damned if I say the reason why my tears are coming is because I drove by their house. I know it's out there, but separating myself from the mind is a practice that is going to the fruit of that practice is going to be more, well, let me say this, more experiences of, you got this, universe. There's little or nothing I have to do. There's little or nothing I have to think about. There's little or nothing I have to plan. There is an ease when I separate from that mental human identity. If you are the same, and we are, it's a constant conversation of what needs to be done, future ideas, future stories, present stories, separating and saying, and even having a conversation with the ego, saying, not anymore. Not anymore. And again, it's an ongoing back and forth. It's a practice that is not easy, separating and knowing that I am not the thoughts. I am not the stories. And there are people, most of the program people love stories, and I get it. There's a story about everything, and there's a story, and there could be a lesson, but the problem arises when the same story is told with the same perspective, with the same energy, with the same results. If I'm telling the story about how when my mother died and she gifted the family house to the handyman, I've told that story 100 times, maybe even more. But it's not, I'm not, and again, I say, my mother died and gifted the house to the handyman. No, she didn't do that. She didn't gift the house to the handyman. The universe gifted. And so the practice becomes, at any moment, who, what am I identifying with? And that's it. At any moment, the person or the presence. And separating the two is a practice that is going to allow me to remain in that place of peace and peaceful consciousness. If I'm triggered for whatever reason, that's always coming from the past. Triggers always are coming, are here because I'm in the past. It's not easy. It's not easy separating and being conscious and saying, I am not my name. I am not my gender. I am not my country. I am not my culture. I am not my race. I am not any of that. It is. I'm not identifying with any of that anymore. Do I have it 100%? No, I don't. But that's exactly how everything is playing out now. There's a song, it's called Remember Who You Are. What's the name of that person that Remember Who You Are? I think it's Omarka. Anyway, just go on Spotify, Remember Who You Are. It's a beautiful song, and it is about remembering, and that's what I'm saying is my ego has had this job position, this place of, yes, I'm doing for a reason that my ego deems the reason, and it's over. The stage is over. The time is over. There's a new sheriff in town, and it's not It's not my lower self. It's not the lower consciousness anymore. And it's easy. It's so easy to know and to feel and to practice separating and knowing the difference. The practice becomes easier and easier. And before I go on and end the show, unless somebody wants to come up and say hello, or if you want to speak with me live, again, press the number 1, area code 646-564-9619. What was I going to say? 619. No, you can leave that there. Thank you. Yeah, I'm almost finished. I had my neighbor. Anyway, okay. Where was I? I just off the track. Just backing up to the topic of the show and separating anxiety. And there is what happened with me is the ego does a kicking and a screaming, and it refuses to let go. It refuses to say, "Oh no, I'm really not you. You really are a level. You really are consciousness. Oh, I'm not you." It refuses. And the practice of staying aware all the time is a challenge, but it is a challenge that reaps benefits beyond, benefits of contentment that words cannot describe. That means everything is in order. This is what I wanted to say. There's a gentleman, his name is Moji, and I've said it, and I've talked about him for the last 3 or 4 months. Moji, Mooji. He's on YouTube. Fantastic teacher. And he talks about how to remain at peace even with a chaotic mind, how to remain at peace even when the bombs are dropping, the figurative bombs, how to remain at peace even when the ego is giving a story which is one perspective. And that's when you know it's the ego, when you can only come up with one perspective. When there is only one conclusion, one perspective, you know it's all ego authored. To recap, it's like, okay, my son has two cats, and they're sisters, and he adopted them when they were kittens. Well, I think they were 6 weeks old or 8 weeks old, and at the time that they're able to be adopted. Maybe they were 8 weeks old, I don't remember, but they're two sisters from the same litter. And so these little girls, don't tell anybody, my granddaughters. Oh, I can't even believe I'm saying that. I used to roll my eyes so heavy with anybody that said, "Oh, the cats are my granddaughters." But here I am saying it. And that's why you can't give any ultimate statements, or you can't make any bold statements that, "I'll never." Now I'm the grandmother of 2 kittens. Anywho, I digress. So my son was saying that he was walking them, and how walking both of them at the same time is a pain. It's difficult. They go in opposite directions. They're not trained. It's just a pain in the ass. So he walks them separately. And because they are sisters, and because they have been together, this is over a year now. They're always together. When he walks them now, he walks them separately. The other one that isn't being walked, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, is in the window just howling like someone is stabbing her. I saw the video. The crying and the howling was just heartbreaking. it was somebody stabbing her. And that is separation, is a separation anxiety, as described by two sisters who are usually always together. And that is the same type of fight, struggle that the ego is going to give, that the ego gives me when I separate. And I say, no, not you today. No, you don't get a say. No, you don't get a vote. It's the same. That separation. So it is going to be uncomfortable. It is going to be, quote unquote, painful. But there is a difference between feeling pain and suffering. There is a difference between feeling uncomfortable to the nth degree and suffering. And when I say suffering, it's all a shedding. The shedding of the identity is uncomfortable, and the ego will say that there is a sense of suffering. And I'm here to tell you that suffering, underneath all of it, is evolution, is growth, is emotional consciousness, is motivation. The looking within is the ultimate practice. The looking within, not to find peace, because peace never leaves, but to discover peace. Separating from ego is the beginning of discovering peace. Well, I like the way I ended that. Oh, guest waiting. I love a guest waiting, yes. Guest waiting. I'm so glad I looked down. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me see what your name is. Michael. Hi, Michael. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I can hear you. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Thanks for joining the show.
You're welcome. This is my first time trying one of your talks because I periodically look through it, but like I was looking at the title with separation anxiety. It's like I kind of have an idea of that because I think I may be dealing with that right now because like there's a friend of mine that I haven't seen in over a month because of an injury that happened to me. And I haven't been around them, and it's like it just feels weird not being in their presence. And like I'm usually there helping them out, and now it's a time where I'm needing the help, and I'm in a whole different area.
Okay, this is really good. This is a perfect the way that you're relating to this, and so. What is your separation from him? What is it teaching you? What are your lessons?
It's a woman friend that I'm separated from. It's just like we built such a bond and we spent so much time together. Like we hang out everywhere. We go to different restaurants. We attend the same church. And for me to be away from her just a couple of days, because I get really concerned about her because I'm overly protective of those that I really care about.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me throw something out. You put a seatbelt on. How old are you?
37.
Okay, so you're a youngster. Well, I'm 68, and I've been, studying this, when I say Program for Unhappiness, in the book that I've just published, and I'm not trying to sell you a book, I promise, but in the book I list 55, really there's 56, but 55 program behaviors that subtract from your happiness. And when I say happiness, I'm talking about contentment. I'm talking about, and you can come up again if you like. I'm talking about a vibration of contentment. So let's go back to this whole thing about worrying and being concerned, and I'm really protective over people that I love. Well, I just met you. That's why I said put your seatbelt on. But don't think that worrying about somebody or this overprotective has anything to do with love, because it doesn't. And so people can feel, and I don't know how to deliver my messages with niceness and calmness, but people that worry and they say that they worry because they care, that's a program. The only reason why I worry about someone, number one, is because I am programmed. Number two is lack of trust. And then when I tell somebody that I claim to love, that I'm worried about them, then that means that I'm trying for them to either change their behavior or let them know that they better call me or I'm going to worry about you. And that's really heavy. That's a heavy thing to do to somebody that you claim to love. I know that the program is, oh, I care about you and I love you and I protect and I feel protective. But in reality, you're not protecting anyone. You don't have the ability to protect anyone from their destiny.
Well, I see where you're coming with that, but I also see the fact that, like, it's not so much I don't trust the person, I don't trust the people around the person, because I've seen the behaviors and I've seen how they act around her. She ignores it. She's good with ignoring this negative behavior from these other people, but it's just they tend to approach her, and the moment I'm around, and I hang around her, like, they just go the other direction. They won't bother her after that. But it's like I've seen so much of how these men and their behaviors are just not. It doesn't seem right to me, because, like, I was raised differently.
Hold on a second. I just want you to be. If you want, please come up again, because we're running out of time. But
okay, yes.
I just wanted to invite you to come up again. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And then, I love what you're saying, though. This is really, really important. Okay, hold on a second. Let me get him back up here. This is really, really important. Now I'm getting chills. Okay, here we go. And click, and do that, and do this. Guest is joining. My guest is joining. 2, 3, 1, Michael. Now, listen, let me just say, my dear new best friend, that I understand what you're saying, that these men, but just like a father, and teaching a daughter how to respond, how to behave, but you cannot protect anyone from another person. You can't. What if you're not going to be around? And so now we've got this relationship that I can't not be around her for fear of her getting, having a problem. I mean, what? In other words, that's not productive, and it's not peaceful. But keep going. Okay, your turn. I talk too much.
Yeah. So, like, even when I wasn't around to help out, because she's had some pretty rough encounters, the only thing I can do from this point, because I'm in the suburbs, she's out in the city, and all I can really do is pray, and we do talk a lot, and it's like the longer we've been away from each other, the more she has been messaging me, and she reaches out to me just about every day since the last time we hung out.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say that, okay, here we go, and this is a real seatbelt. I was talking to my son about it. My son's 39. I was talking about this yesterday. And any time you need something, anyone needs something from someone else, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a text, whether it's protection, whether it's and you know what I'm talking about, this needing is a disaster waiting to happen. You know it, and I know it. Correct?
I don't.
You don't agree.
It's not quite clicking, but I think I get it, but So what if you're not around? That's my point. What if you're not around? Well, if I'm not around, usually we end up talking a lot. A lot of times, though, I don't always initiate the conversation because I don't want to seem like I'm being too clingy or, trying, come out desperate or nothing because she already knows I like her. She's known that for a minute now.
Well, this is what I'll say. This is what I'm going to say. Water rises to its own level. And however, I don't want to use the word healthy, scratch the word healthy, but however balanced, stable, content you are, that's what you are going to attract. Anybody, myself included. And so, what is it? And this. I'm not using this on you, but they say hurt people. Well, people that need people need other people, and what I'm saying is eventually, and eventually, the healthier you are, the more aware you are, the more. Again, I go back to the worrying. Don't think worrying about somebody means that you care. It's a program. It's a program that offers absolutely nothing but low vibrations. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much for the talk. I have to head out early, but I will definitely join your talk again.
I really appreciate that, and thank you for sharing. And then, the focus, I'm just going to leave you with this. The focus is always on the person in the mirror. And when you focus on being an example, what would you want? Would you want someone to be dependent on you? Is that what you want? Or do you want someone that is dependent on, scratch the dependent, someone that realizes their own power? That's what I want to say. So anyway, I really appreciate your input and your call and you coming to the stage, Michael. I really do. Yeah, and so now we're talking about relationships, and relationships are so interesting. Again, everyone, including myself, like energy attracts like energy. And I know the programming, in fact, that's going to be my third book. I have the first book, Program for Unhappiness, and the second book is going to be Answering Questions. And the third one is going to be Program Relationships. And all of these relationships that are programmed to, well, if you don't call me or if you don't talk to me and we have to be around each other all the time. I'm not making any judgments about any relationships, but know that there is a result, there is a cause and effect for all different types, and program relationships have programmed outcomes. That's the best I could do. Wow, what an interesting show! What a great show! Thank you for contributing, Michael, today. And with all of that, separation. I'm going to use my only son. He's my only son. I only have one. And one of the things that people ask me all the time is, how often do you see him? Are you able to see him a lot, or how often do you able? And it's not about how often, and because when I see my son, if I see my son, when I see him, it's because it's time to be in his presence. It's not about, well, let's see, he lives in California, I live in Nevada, we have to see each other 5 times a year. There's no planning. Even with the call, even with the phone call. Well, we do have our show planned on Saturday. Every Saturday, Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more. Every Saturday live on YouTube at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. But there's no obligating or needing. And I used to be this mother that needed to have a call or needed to have him to connect with me. No. In fact, that's going to be a topic. Obligation and needing. And again, it's impossible for energy that is together. Let's see, what do I want to say? I don't even have a point now. I'm just rambling. Let me just be real. Let me close the show. Let me just end the show. That's what I'm going to do, because I had one thought, but I couldn't formulate it anyway. The show's over. Back to separation. That's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And and now it is live. I'm live on YouTube. So not only can you hear me, but you can see me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington, my LinkedIn handle. I'm on LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel is Rebecca Norrington. Website is RebeccaNorrington.com. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, is on Amazon. And the book that I just published a couple of months ago, beginning of May, is called Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, and that's on Amazon and Lulu and Barnes & Noble. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You're a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving and always changing, always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. This happiness is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practice skill. Contentment is a practice. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. And happiness is a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace and the more contentment you will experience in every moment, and every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week. Thank you for listening.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. You got a question for RLN? Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now.